So TNT Books the hires you in the productivity consultant. So currently, it employed 6 people who still use the floppy disk to get the file from the one computer to the next. Okay. So what is the floppy disk? Have you seen that one before? The floppy disk looks like, where it is. Yeah, and this is a floppy disk. So all the employee uses this floppy disk to move their file from the one PC to another PC. So copy the file to the floppy disk and then move the floppy disk, take out the floppy disk from the PC and insert into another PC. And copy the file from the floppy disk. That's how we move the file. So what? So you are the engineers, the network engineers, and you need to change this situation to the 21st century of the technology. So by the configuring networks, so we know about the networks. We need to set up the networks for the company, so allow them to show the files through the networks. That's how we need to do. The company is one of the most inexpensive solution. That's the key information. Inexpensive solution, and it's only the minimum training for the employee. So only require the minimum training for the employee. So we choose the peer-to-peer networks or the server-based networks. So which one do you prefer in this company? So write the list of this apply. You may need to purchase to complete this task. So what computer configuration task may you need to perform? That's the question number 1. So the key information, they are using the floppy disk. So they want to change it to the way of the share the files, right? Okay. They want to share the file in a company and using the networks. And they want to the inexpensive solution, so only minimum training the required. Okay, so how we can do? So what we need to do for this time? Anyone have any ideas? To set up the networks, what we need to have? In the PC. How we can set the networks to PC? So first of all, we need to buy some of the network device, which is switching, right? So all the PCs need to connect to the switches, one of the ports. Why? To connect to the switches, each of the PC require, what's the components in the PC? What we need to have here? What we need to have in another PCs? So this is we call NIC. So network interface card, right? So we put the network interface card each of the PC and plug the cable through so one put in the computers and the other one is in the switches. Okay, connecting the PC to the network device switches. That's all we need to do. After then, so we can communicate between the PCs. So using the network device. So what we need to purchase? So we need to purchase switching network device and network interface card. Number 3, some of the cable. In this case, maybe the Ethernet cable. So the RJ, the 45, that's for the Ethernet. Okay, those components we need to buy to set your networks. The minimum, they can share the data through the networks. Okay, and the next question, what is the minimum training? So what we need to, well, all the employees should know about that. So how to share the files or the folders. Okay, To share the follower in the networks, we need to know about the create user, users, and to give them permission, set the permission. Okay, those things we need to train to the all the users in the company. Okay, does it make sense? Hello? Next question. So I will choose the peer-to-peer and the server-based one. So which one is the best for this company? Peer-to-peer. Why? They wanted to have inexpensive solutions. So peer-to-peer, they're inexpensive. And server-based one, we need to purchase server and need to hire some of the administrator to managing your networks. So it's better to go the peer-to-peer networks. Okay. So this is the list of the supplies we need to buy, purchase. The switches, NIC, network interface card, and cable. So what configuration we need to acquire? So the configuration. What's that? Yeah, the configuration is about creating the users and so they share your phone to give the permission to share the phone. Okay. Easy. This could be the one of the questions in your exams. Okay, is it clear now? Hello? Yes or no? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then we can go to the next question. The lecture 2. This question came from the week 2. So, so Ahmed Udin? Ahmed? Hello? Subhash? Sumangal? No one? Hello? Who's there?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So can you read the question number 2?
You have been hired to operate a network of 50 computers currently connected to 10 Mbps hubs. This long overdue upgrade is necessary because of poor network response time caused by a lot of collisions occurring during long file transfers between clients and servers. How do you recommend upgrading this network? What interconnecting device will you use? And what benefit will you get from using these devices? Write a short memo describing the upgrade and, if possible, include a drawing of the new network.
Okay. So what's the main issues in here? Main problem?
Occurring long file transfer durations between servers and clients.
Yes. So haven't upgraded for a long time. So the main problem, they have a lot of the collisions. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Why? So which device did makes the collision?
The hubs.
Yeah, because of the hubs. Hubs, they have the collision domain. So did you remember if we use the hub and hub, what about the switching? And the PCs are connecting to here. Then how many the collision domain in this diagram? The hubs, the switches. All the hubs are included in one collision domain. And each port of the switches have their own the collision domain, right? So there are the 3 collision domain, 1, 2, 3. Because they are using the 10 megabps hub. So that means all the PCs are in the same collision domain. That's the main reasons they got the collisions. every time they send some of the file, transfer the file. So how we upgrade these networks? To get rid of the collision, what should we do? Okay. So you can copy the question. I like to yeah. Let me see. What's that? So let's copy this to there. Good. At this time, they are using the hub. To connecting their PCs. So that means all the PCs are in one collision domain. This is just one collision domain to improve their networks, to get rid of the collision from the networks. So what should we do? Simply, we can just switch it. Use the switch instead of the hub. So what about if you use the switch in the case, and the PC, the same configuration, 1, 2, 3, another PC is there, the 3 PCs, and how many collision domain in this after the upgrading from the hub to switches? So this is one collision domain, one collision domain, one collision domain, 3 collision domain. So collision never happens if you use the switches. Switch will control of your packet, so do not making any collisions. Okay. So that's the one solutions. So how do you recommend the upgrade the networks? So we wanted to upgrade your house to the switches. That's the one solution. So what interconnecting device will you use? So that's the switches, right? So which device? That is switch. That's a simple and inexpensive way. So the benefit. So what's the benefit? In this case, if you use a hub, so that's a 10 megabps hub. That means this bandwidth should be shared with number of the users. So each of the users can the bandwidth. Think about the bandwidth. Bandwidth. Okay. So bandwidth is 10 megabps shared by 3. So that means around 3.333 the megabps per user. Right? And what if you change it to the switches after the upgrade? Then each of the users, they have their full bandwidth, which is 10 megabps. Okay. So it's just 3 times. Well, if you have the more users, so this time it's connecting to more users, maybe 10 users. In this case, we have 10 PCs. Then, so the average bandwidth for so using the hub, that's gonna be 10 megabps to shared by 10. So that is, sorry. 10, which means 1 megabps per each user's average. But if you use the switches with 10 PCs, so that means 10 megabps per each users. Okay, so 10 times faster than the before. Does it make sense? That's the benefit of the upgrading from the switch, the hub to the switch. Benefit. And so write the shown memos to describe the upgrade and, if possible, including the drawings of the new networks. So yeah, that's what we need to do. you need to upgrade from the hub to switches, and the bandwidth, it depends on the how many the users in the networks. Okay. So the hubs make the collision, and switches and they block the collisions. All right. Is it clear now? I hope. Everything is clear? Then, so lecture 3. What's the next? Surah. Hello. Good morning, Surah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Morning, sir.
How was it today?
Not too bad, you?
Not too bad? Yeah. So what about, can you just read the, number 3?
Number 3.
Yeah. The lecture 3, the simple question.
Yeah. ICT.com has 250 network computers and 5 servers and uses a star topology wire network to reach employees' offices with a bus interconnecting 3 floors in its office building. Because of a staggering influx of internet business, the network administrator's task is to boost network performance and availability as much as possible. The company also wants a network design that's easy to reconfigure and change because workgroups from or disband frequently and their membership changes regularly. All computers must share sensitive data and control access to customer files and databases. Aside from the customer information and billing databases, which run on all servers, employees' desktop computers must run standard word processing and spreadsheet programs. Use the following: write on lines to evaluate the requirements of this network. After you finish, determine the best network topology or topology combination for the company. On a blank piece of paper, sketch the network design you think best suits ibis.com needs. Remember, high performance and easy reconfiguration are your primary design goals. What type of topology should be used in this network? Will the network be peer-to-peer or server-based? How many computers will be attached to the network?
So you just find what is key information in the question, in this question. So just a second. Let's copy to our board. So now we are talking about the EBG, the EBG.com. So company. So this company. So they what was that? So EBG.com company, they have the 25 the PCs and the 5 servers. And they are using the star topology, the wired network to the each employee, the PC the employees. Okay. And with the bus interconnecting 3 floors in the buildings. So that means they are this is the buildings, and they use the 3 floors, okay, only. So for the EBs company, EBs.com company, and so they are how many?
5 servers and 250 network computers.
Yeah, they have the PCs. How many PCs? And 25 the PCs and server 5 servers. So they are using how can the networks, the switches. They're using the switches. Why they are using the switches? What's the clue? In the floors. Because they are using the star topology. Okay. So switches. So make the star topology. And if you use the hub, so that which topology? Hubs are using bus topology, right? So in the floor, between the PCs, they are using the switches. But the problem is the bus interconnecting 3 ports. So in this area, So between the floors. Okay. So what's the networks here? This is bus topology. So which means they are using the hub in this area. That's the current situation. So about the evg.com. Okay. And what's the main issues in this company?
They must get sensitive data. And
Sensitive data, that's the one of them. Where it is. So we just, just through the one by one, the securing the plus the internet business, they are targeted to boost. We need to boost the networks because they are the good business. The business is going well. So they increase the number of the traffic inside. Okay, just need to, that's the internet service provider, ISP, internet. So the more traffic is come in and out from the company. To get to the each floors, we have to go through the hubs. So remember, if you use the hub, only one of the users can use the networks, right? Because of the hubs, how the shared bandwidths are using, okay? So if you have the hub, there's only one user can use at a time. So what if you have the 250 users inside of the company, but only one user can use the internet? That's the main problem. The rest of them must wait until the other users they finish definitely using the networks. That's the main problem. And one of the network design, they're easy to reconfigure. Easy to reconfigure because of changing the workload from the disbanded frequently. That's the another requirement. So which network types are the easy to reconfigure or the making the groups the frequently?
Can you use mesh topology or something like that?
And sensitive data. So think about this is the peer-to-peer or the server-based one. So peer-to-peer is the easily configure. Server-based one is easily configure. If you confuse and go to the next one, and the sensitive data we need to share. Sensitive data like the personal information, the user ID and mobile phone, user the address, the kind of the information. So which one is the better for the sensitive data? The peer-to-peer and the server-based one. What is peer-to-peer? What is the server-based one? The peer-to-peer? So this peer-to-peer is the networks. So this is the PC in the company. So we have the switches in the network and all the PCs are connecting to the switches. Think about the data, where to save your data in the networks. We spread out into the whole network. So everyone has got the customer information. We don't know where it is. So they have the sensitive data. The users require the information, the finance or the user personal information. They share that's the peer-to-peer to the peer network. And server-based network. Server-based network, we have the this is the server, and we have the switches, and all PCs are there. All the PCs are there. So PCs are connecting to switches. Also, the servers also connecting to switches. And we only save the data into the servers. So everyone wanted to use the data, we have to ask to the server and they'll get the data. And after finishing their jobs, you need to save the data into the server. So it's much easier to the management of the server. So the customer doesn't want to save the data into the networks. They wanted to keep in a safe place. That is servers. Okay, so this is more secure. Okay, rather than the peer-to-peer, the server-based one. Okay, does it make sense? So it is easy to the managing, easy to backup. That's the more safer, the backup. And the managing. And only the authorized person can access to the data. That is server-based one. Okay, so that's the reason. So we have to go the server-based one. Server-based one is easy configuration because this is configured by the administrator. So by the admin, so we'll configure it. And this is much more the safer place. The sensitive data must be saved in the server. Okay. And what is? That's nothing special. Okay. And what about which topology we are using? So how we upgrade? So this is the current situation. So if you use the bus, so this is the hub in interconnecting the floors, then what happens? So this bandwidth must be shared with the number of the users. Okay, if you use 100 BPS in a hubs, then so we have the 250. So divided by the 250 users. All right. 100 mega divided by the 250 users. So that's the average bandwidth for the users. So if you upgrade your hub to the switches, then what happens? So the bandwidth, think about the bandwidth. In a hub, 100 divided by 250. If you use the switches, we can use 100 megabps, the fully for each of the users. Okay. So there's no collisions because the house makes the collision. So you must only use the bandwidth must be shared by number of the users because of the collision. Okay. So switches are the start topology, switching, and then the hubs. It makes not what it is? Bus topology. Okay. Well, after upgrade from the hub to the switches, so this is star, and also inside the floors, we also use the star. So star and star, well, what's that? The plus star. That is extended star topology. That's the first question, okay? So this type of the between the floors, so we are using the star topology, using switches, and in the floors, we already used this star topology. So star connecting to the another star topology, that is extended star topology. The will this network peer-to-peer or the server-based one, that's going to be server-based one because of the server-based one is easy to reconfigure and is good to save your sensitive data in a server. All right.
Yeah, sir, I will allow to make figure in exam.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Can we make figure in exam, sir, for our understanding?
The figures.
Yeah, I mean, can we make figure
I don't know.
exam for our understanding?
Yeah, because if you have the paper-based one, so you can so make the figures by yourself to explain. So you are in Sydney or out of the Sydney?
Sir, I'm in Sydney, sir.
But I don't know. Do we have the figure? Because it asks you make your the diagrams. So it doesn't have the figures in the exams. I think so, but you can make. Just follow the scenario and draw the figures, the diagrams. naturally how you the design of the network. Okay. If you draw the diagram by yourself, it's much easier to understand. Yeah. Okay. And so how many pieces? I don't know. So what we have to discount. So how many pieces? So we have the 25. So 250 plus 5 servers, 50. Is there anything else? No, I think yeah. So in total, 255. For the pieces in this one. Okay. Yeah, let's move on to next question. Lecture 4. Yeah, Township. Hello. Good morning. Township.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you read the lecture 4 simple question?
I need to read, sir, right?
Yeah, just read and think about what's the main point and what's the main issues about this question.
Okay.
Sorry. No, speak up, no.
Sir, I need to read loudly.
Yeah, Avi. Yeah. I'm waiting for
ABC
you.
company, ABC company occupies 3 floors in a 10-story building, where the elevators shaft providing the only path to all 3 floors. In addition, user on the 9th and the 10th floor must access a collection of a server on the 8th floor. Explain what kind of connections will work in the elevator shaft. If more than one choice is possible, pick the best option and explain the reason for your choice. Assuming that interfloor connecting might someday need to run at much higher speeds, reevaluate your choice. What's the best type of a medium for one end bandwidth needed? Explain your answer.
So what's the main issues? So the company name is ABC company. This is a company. So they are using the 3 floors in 10-story buildings. So where the elevator shaft, they provide the only paths to the all 3 floors. So, okay. So they are the 10-story buildings. And so may you use the 8, 9, 10, only use the 3 floors. But to connect between the floors, there's only place we can get through between the floors is the lift area. Okay. And so 9s. So we need to place. So users are the 9 and 10, and the servers are the placed in 8 floors. Okay. So the servers were placed in 8 floors, and the users are placed in 9 and 10. All the users are here, right? Explain what kind of the connections should we work the elevator shaft. So what's the best? What kind of the connection? So if the more than one choice is possible, which medias is best for to connect in this this environment? The key information here is elevator, the lift, elevator shaft. So what is this? This is the EMI. Did you remember? Electronic and the magnetic interference. There's a lot of the noise inside because there are the metal machines are the move. Then it make the EMI, electromagnetic interference, in this hazard area. So what could be the solution to connect between the floors?
Can we use fiber?
Yeah, so that's the fiber. Yeah, the fiber is the best options always. The fiber optics. Oh. And what's the other second options? Fiber.
What about switch and fiber?
Another media, another cables. The fiber is best, or we can use the other options, which is
Switch.
a shielded twisted cable. UTP, STP. Did you remember? What's the difference, UTP and STP? So UTP is the unshielded twist pair cable, and STP is the shielded one. The shielded one just blocks some of the interference from the outside, but does not guarantee to block all the interference from the outside to the inside. Okay, this is STP. Just have a look. STP and UTP. Images. Can you see? Yeah, this is the difference between the STP and UTP. So almost same, but this is STP and this one is UTP. So UTP doesn't have any shielded one. It's just plain the cable, no shielding. And STP have some of the shield. So this one is reduce some of the interference from the outside. So EMI from the outside, it will reduce. Reduce means we can't block the 100%. We can't block them, but we just reduce down the power of the interference. So that's the another choice. So that is easy to the installation or the cheaper solution, but the fiber is 100% to guarantee, 100%. So always the fiber is the best options, but there's some of the limitation of your budget. If someone can't handle the optical the fibers, then it needs to go the shielded twist pair cable. It's still available, but if it's possible, it is better choice. The best solution is the fiber optics. The second one is STP. Okay. Yeah, that's the one. And so if the more than one choice, is pick the best solutions, explain the one. Yeah, so if you have the two choice, definitely we need to go to fibers. Then if can't support for the fibers, it's good to go the STP. That's the second option. But here's another questions. Another key information is the open-ended bandwidth. So what's the meaning? The open-ended. STP, what's the bandwidth for the optics? Fiber optics. 10 giga to 100 giga. Can write? If you use the STP. STP may from the 100 mega to 1 gigabps, right? The fiber is a much higher bandwidth. So in the near futures, so now we require only the 100 megabps, but after 2 years, in the near futures, so they may require 1 gigabps or the more than 1, 10 or the 100 gigabps. So that means they need to upgrade in the near futures, okay? Because of the bandwidth. So not for the EMI, the interference. So interference can install the fiber or STP. There are two choices. But so in the near future, so we need to upgrade your network because of the bandwidth. So more bandwidth is required in these buildings. So the backbone should be need to cover more the data. Then which is the best? We must go the fibers because of this one. So open the bandwidth 3D. So the fiber is 100 the gigabps and UTP-STP up to the 1 gigabps. Okay. Next. So Dia Puri. Dia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you read the lecture 5 simple question?
So you work at a help desk and have just received a call from an employee who says she can't access network resources. You want the employee to view her IP address configuration, write an email to the employee explaining what command line program to use and how she can use it to find the information you need. After following your instructions, the employee tells you that her IP address is 169.254.1411 with a subnet mask of 255.255.0.0. What conclusions can you make from this information?
So the main problem, can you find the problem in this company?
So she can't access the network resources.
Yeah, good. So that's the problem. So to solve this problem, so we need to the troubleshooting for the networks. So the first step, we need to check the whole IP address, right? So
Yes.
to get the IP address, so which the command we can use to see the IP address?
ipconfig.
Yeah. So in the terminal, so command line choose IP config. Okay. Then we can see what kind of information? IP address
and subnet mask.
and subnet mask. Also gateway, gateway. Can you see? Yeah, those information we can get. So we can ask to the user's employee to get the whole IP address. So using the IP config, the command. Okay. Then, so we'll receive the email from the users, and finally her IP address is 169.254.14.11. So may have the subnet mask. Here's subnet mask 255.255.0.0. So what's the problem with this IP address?
You can access the DHCP server. Is it?
Yeah, right. Keep going. So this is, we call link local IP address. So what's the link local IP address? So they're having a problem to getting the IP address from the DHCP servers. That could be the network issues, could be the server issues, it could be your network card issues. We don't know where this is, where the problem is caused. But the problem is your PC cannot get the IP address. That's the defect, okay? So can't get the IP address. Cannot get IP address. So your network card, NIC network card, they set this IP address into your PC. That's the link local IP address. So 169.254.x.x. This is the link local IP address. So to buy network interface card. Okay, network interface card, we assign this IP address to your PC. So this IP address only allowed to use the local PC. We can't communicate with the other device. So that's the main issues, okay? the conclusion you can get, so that's the main reason. So what's the solution then? Solution for the problem. So we can check your network interface card. So why you can't have the IP address from the networks? So it may have your network driver have the problem to getting the IP address. So you can just restart your PC to process all your drivers for the network card. So restart your PC. Restart your PC. So another way. So need to check your administrator, admin, checking the DHCP servers. So may have the run out of the IP address. They're already full of your users in the networks. So there's no more IP address assigned to your PC. It could have the problem. So we have to check both sides, the network side and your side as well. So restart your PC. That is, so you can just restart your PC and restart the old process over the network card and try to get another IP address. Try one more time to getting the new IP address. And the network side, we have to check the DHCP servers. Either the full is still available, IP full, or the network cable issues between your PC to the network side that we can try to define to solve the problem. Okay, that all about came from this IP address, link local. So link local is the assigned IP address by your network interface card. If you see that these ranges, the IP address starting from the 169 to 54, the something that is a link local. Then we have the first, our way to do the first is restart my PC to get another IP address, new IP address. It doesn't work. You need to ask the network administrator. So I can't get any IP address. Can you check your network status, or can you check your IP full? This is available, another IP address. Yeah, that's the solution to solve the issues. Okay, easy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, the Prakashi. Prakashi. Hello. Abhishek. Abhishek. Answer is no. The Ganesh Kumar. Ganesh Kumar. Oi. You're not there.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah.
Can you read the next question? Lecture 7 and simplification.
As an administration for the
Mhm.
growing ISP, you want to make efficient use of your network address. One of the network address INA assign you is a class C network 197.15.10.0. You have to decide to use the address in the class C network to satisfy the IP address requirement of 16 government corporate customers. You have 20 addresses without using a subnet calculator. Calculate the subnet marks that meets their need. List the subnet marks of the 4 subnetwork address. The mark will be great.
So
Yeah.
can you do that? Do that? So what I marked for your final assessment, so the
Yeah.
network student having a problem to making the subnet. So that's the main point. That's the biggest part for your the assessment, final assessment. And yeah, just do one more time. Oh, so messy. Yeah, this is question. So yeah, what kind of the information we have? Just check the one by one. So adjunct administrator including the ISP, so you wanted to make it efficient use of your network address. So one of the network address I am now assigned to you is the class C. Yes, yeah, class C. So we are using the class C IP address, so which is 197.15.10.0. So what's the meaning? What means the class C? If you use the class C IP address full, so that means so the IP address. Okay. Class C, so 197.15. That so 10.0. Class C means default subnet mask. What's the subnet mask for this IP address? Class C 255.255.255.0. That's the class C. Okay. So because of this is class C IP address, and subnet mask could be it's close, because of the class C. So default subnet mask is 255.255.255. So that means our network address. So what is the network part? So network part is up to here. So this is host network address, okay? Network address and host address, right? So we can't managing any networks because this is allocated to our company. If you change this part, the packet will go to the another place. So we must use this one. So inside of your company, we just modify the host address to making your subnet. Okay. So to do that, we have to convert this IP address into the binary. But this is the fixed one. So I'm just using that one and only change the last part to get a subnet. Okay. And how many subnet we require? So IP address requirement of the 16 incorporated customers. So we have the 16 different customers. So each of the customer, they want to have their own networks. Yes or no? So if you just use the your network, you want to have the separate your network. So it doesn't want to share your traffic to the another company. So if you have the 16, the customer, so that means so how many the subnet network bit we required to get the 16?
5
5?
or
2 to
4.
5 means 32. That's too many. So what about 2 to 4? That's 16. So we are using the 4-bit allocated to the subnet network address. Then we got 16 networks we can create. And each of the network required minimum 20 IP address. Right? So let's make it for this one. So as I said, we just convert it into the binary to make it easy to configure. 197.15. This is a fixed one. I'm just using the decimal for this one. Only the last part is converted into the binary. 1234, 1234. This is the binary format. Therefore, the IP address. Because this is fixed one. So the first part, I want to change it to the binary. When you think about the last digit. The subnet mask as well. The subnet mask, you can change it to 55 to 55 to 55 to 55. So that is 000 00000. Okay. Then, so if you got this one, this is the default subnet. How we can make our subnet inside? Create the subnet. We have to change the host to the network part. Okay. So how many parts we need? How many the bit we need to change it to? So this is all 0. That means so all this part is the host allocated to the host at the beginning. Okay. This one is allocated to the host. Yes. Oh, we wanted to create your own subnet network address. That means we need to change this one. So from the 0000 and 000, and this one we can change it to 1111. So that could be so network. So 4-bit allocated to the subnet network, create the subnet network. So that means so we can just change this 4 up to, so how many bit? 4-bit required, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is we can create your subnet. If you change it to the 4-bit, and this host bit can be converted into, so this one you change it to network to create your subnet. So we can assign to the network. So, okay. Then we can find what's the first network address. So we can assign any numbers to create your subnet. So the subnet number 1. So the first one, you can just think about the subnet, our subnet, or subnet number 1, which is customer 1. The customer number 1, just number 1. Okay. What's the network address for this company? We can pick any numbers, any numbers from the 000 can be, or 0001, 0010. So any the different unique numbers, you can create a unique subnet. So the first one I just picked, can just pick because this is the first customer. So we just pick the 0000 for the network address. Then we can count we can define the first IP address. What's the first IP address? If you put O, H, it becomes 0. That's the first IP address, which is the network address, right? And the last IP address of the network. So IP address, which is H equals 1. That could be the last IP address of the network. So the 1 is, so N, we can just assign the network address. That is, so 197.15.10. If you put all 0, then this is 000, and so, and 40 for the host. That's the first IP address. And the last IP address, so 197.15.10. The 40, 1, 2, 3, 4. The network is the same networks. And the last IP address of the networks could be 1111. That is host address. Okay. Then if you convert this one to the decimal, so 197 to 15, 10, and 0. That's the first IP address. Last IP address of the network, 197, that the 15, that 10, that. what's that? This is 15. Okay. Yeah, this is the IP ranges in this subnet. So we can use from the 0 to the 15, right? So this IP address we can use in this subnet, but the first IP address of the company of the subnet is for the network address. So you can use the first IP address, network address, and also we can find broadcast IP address. There are two different IP address. So network address could be the first one, 197.15.10.0, and broadcast IP address, so 197.15.10.15. That's the broadcast IP address. Okay, so we can use from the 1 to, so 1 to the 14, 1 to 14, the 14 IP address. Oh, is correct. The problem is there's something wrong. The 14, the 16, to create the 16, we required 4-bit. So we allocated the 4-bit to create the subnet, but we need 20 IP address each. But we only have 1 to 14, right? So that means 14 IP address available for the each. Yes or no? Right? Hello? Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this question is wrong, I think. So only the 10 IP address is, that's the minimum. The minimum is, and the maximum is 14. Okay. Yeah, because of so only the 4 bit to allowed to set up your host. This is 4-bit only. So we can't get the 20 IP address. So the maximum is 14. So you must change this one, I think. We can't get this in here. All right. So let's get another subnet. So which is subnet number 2 for the another company, subnet number 2. And network address, we can choose any network, we can pick any. So this time you can choose 0001. Then that's simple. We can just reply to this one. I want to write down again. So the first IP address of the network 197. So 197.15.10. So 0001. That 0000. Okay. So this is the IP address, but only this part is for the network. And yeah. Okay. So the last IP address 197.15.10. So 0001, that's the network, the subnet, and the last IP address 1111. One only. And the car and network address we highlight with green. Okay, so if it's converted this one into the decimal, 197.15.10. What was this one? This is from the 16, right? That's the first IP address. And last IP address 197.15.10. That is 30, the 15, 16, 31. Okay, that's the last IP address. Okay, so the first network address is 16, and the broadcast IP address is the last IP address. And so how many IP addresses we can get? From the 17 to the 13. 17 to the 13, how many? 17 to the 13. So that is also 14. 13, that's the 14, right? So only the 14 so IP address available. So 7 to the 30. So that's the 14 numbers of the IP address IPs. So for each subnet. Okay. You can do the rest of them. So it required how many? The first 4. So that means, so the first 4, the next one is 1 1 0 0 1 0. That's the third one. 0 0 1 1. That's the another one. So if you created the unique numbers, then create the unique subnet. So how many we can create it? So we can create it 16, number of the 16 subnets. So each subnet can have the 14 IP address. The 14, not the 20. This is wrong information. So you can't get the 20. So only allowed to get up to the 14. Okay. Good. So you need to do, but one missing here is, no, this is not correct. So to get the 15, this is calculated from the host numbers, but we are using the limit. So the problem is we use, so what we use? Class, the CIP address, and required how many? 16 customer. But if we use the 5 assigned to the host, so we only allow the 3 bit to the host, to the networks. Then we only created 8, right? 8 the subnet only. So that's the another problem. So if we created from the subnet, but this solution is using the host bit first. But if you use the 5 bit to the host, that means we only get a subnet. But the one problem is here, we require the 16. So anyway, we can't get the both of them. So 16, we only need the 14. So if you have the 20 and then has 20 address, then we need to have 8 the customer only. I have to change the either subnet, the host, or the host. All right. Good. Next. Lecture 8. Who haven't done yet? The Ravi. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you read the lecture 8 presentations?
The question?
Yeah, question.
You have been called in to recommend a server for a company that's opening a new office. You are meeting with the operation manager to get preliminary information about what the company needs, and will make recommendations for this new server, hardware and OS. List the top 5 questions you should ask the operation manager so that you can make the best recommendation.
So the problem. So what's the problem? We have to check. We need to purchase the new servers.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
I can see your screen.
Really? You can't see my screen.
Yeah.
What about the other student? So other student, they having the same problem, or
So we can see it.
You
Yeah,
can
can,
see.
And says,
yes. Can you check the your one? I think yes. Having to.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just yeah. What about now? So can you fix it, or can you just log out and log in again?
Yeah, sure.
See that? Yeah. Then maybe fix the one. The always the first this step to the solve the problem to restart your application, restart your PC. If it doesn't work, then the 80% of the problem can be solved. Yeah, in here. So we are planning to buy the new servers, but when we purchase the new server, so what is the information we required? So what's the information? To always the expensive one is always the better, but there's some of the limit. So to buy the best the solution best thing and the recommendation to purchase the your service. So what could be that one? Yeah, this is the answer, but it's too complicated. The first one, there's a spine. It's like the First, we have to check how large is the business. So the larger business have the more budget and require the more traffic, the more users in there. So how large is the business and how many people are use the service? It depends on the budget. That can be the more process or the cost in the service we need to purchase. It depends on the number of the users. Okay, that's the first one. And the second one. So what will be the function in this service? So what is the workload? So which application it must be the run in the service? This can be running the email server or the VPN server, file server, the web server has the different the features they have. Okay. The file server we need to for the file server we need to purchase more space. So in a service, the web servers we have the more network interface, the performance, the interface, the capacity to cover the more users we need to cover in the network servers. Okay, that's the other question. Number 3, I think yes. Just read the question and the answers. Nothing special. Third one, where the third one is his. So what price ranges? It depends on the price. So usually the server is very expensive. Yes, so don't have the enough budget. We have to reduce the spec of the servers. So what's the budget for your servers? The next, the first. So do you want to run the OS? Which OS do you using? The Windows, Linux, or some of the iOS, something like that? So it depends on which OS they are running on the servers. That's the first question. And the last one, the fifth. So what hardware the features do you utilize for the Linux? What do you want to set up the VMs? The VM, the virtual machine. So that's the virtual machine. So what's the virtual machine? The VM. So we purchased the one big servers. We can install the many servers inside of the one physical servers. So that's the VM1, the VM2, so VM3, so VM4, something like that. If you have the big servers and install the virtual, the web VM, and the VM1 is for the web servers. We can install the web servers in VM1. VM2, we can install the file servers, the file sharing, and support and so that's the email. But I hardly see the email server since maybe 2010, something like that. So for the 10 years, I never see the email server because always the company are using the cloud. Yeah, the cloud for the email. So they are using the Gmail or the Outlook because they don't need to buy any servers or any administrators. So everyone can go to the Gmail and the Outlook to set up the employee email and easy to. So they have the quite good the backup system and the security as well. So they don't use the emails anymore. Anyway, so we can just separate it. You can the virtual the servers, so we can create it inside of your servers using the VM. Okay, that's the other one. So those questions you must do before you purchase your servers. Okay. So how many users and which functions we need to put it into your servers? The third one is price. The fourth one is which operations system you are using. The first one is the hardware. So how much is the CPUs required, or the storages, or the memories. Those sort of things we need to consider at the last. Okay. Just have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all. So, next question. Ashish. Hello, Ashish Thapa. Oh, he's gone. An email. Who haven't done yet? Subhash, did you done?
Sir, I will read, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
You want to transfer a document from one computer to another, and you want the document to be encrypted. The destination computer is on another network, so data has to travel through one to more router. The network technology on your network is Ethernet, but the technology on the destination network is Wi-Fi. From what you have learned about networking, should this document transfer work? Why or why not? Which layer of the OSI model are involved in the
Italicized the part.
Italicized parts of this description?
But no italicized. The problem. That's the problem. So don't worry about the main point. So we need to transfer your document, the one PC to the another one. So that's what we need to do. One to the another one. But those PC are placed in different networks. Destination network is the PCs are on another networks. That means between the two networks, it can be networks, which is another network. Network 1, LAN 1, or the network 1 and network 2. So to communicate between the two, so which network device is required? That's a router, right? So router, the purpose of the router is connecting two networks together, right? So this one. Sorry, you can't see?
No, I think it should work.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So one network and the other network, and they need to come into one place in network 1, the other one destination will place the network 2. Okay, so usually we're using the switches. The switches are the switches here. The switch is connecting to the router, switching connected to the router. And the router make the connection between the two different networks. All right. And so here, so network technology on the US network is Ethernet. So that means, so your one are using the Ethernet. So your PC have the network interface card. This one connecting to switches using the Ethernet. And the destination, we're using the Wi-Fi. So they are using Wi-Fi. So you must have the which device we have in here. So one is access point. So the AP generated the signal to the destination networks in the areas. Is it possible to communicate Ethernet from the Ethernet to the Wi-Fi? Do you think it's possible? Yes or no? It can or cannot?
Yeah, we can transfer.
Yeah, actually usually we do. The network, what we said. Yeah, then here's the model. All the servers are using the Ethernet. So model is connecting to the Ethernet. But all the students are using the Wi-Fi's at home. They can still communicate each other. But how? Who makes it possible to communicate? I have to think about it. So what's the key device in here? That's the
Wireless access point can
wireless access point to make it happen. So in an access point, they have the two different network interface card. So one for the Ethernet, and the other one is the Wi-Fi. So that's the Ethernet and the Wi-Fi. There's two different network cards. So whenever the traffic came into the Ethernet, the port, the AP will translate it, the port. So that's the layer 1, layer, the layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. And layer 3, 2, 1. And this is the antenna, the signal. So generated the signal. So Ethernet, the AP, wireless access point, receive the data signal from the Ethernet, the cable, and this one came into the layer 3. Layer 3 is IP address, right? IP layer. So IP converts to the another IP, which is Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is the 3 to layer 2, send the packet to the layer 2 and the layer 1 and generated the wireless signals. The AP have the two different interface, have the two different IP address. So they converted the Ethernet signal to the Wi-Fi signal. That's the how it works. Okay, does it make sense? From the layer 1, you receive, and layer 2 to find the one, but it needs to go up to layer 3 because these are the different interface. So layer 3 and find the Wi-Fi layer 3 and convert into the Ethernet and the Wi-Fi frame. This is Wi-Fi frame. Wi-Fi frame and convert into the bit conversion to the signal. So which is the wavelengths. Okay. That's the reason we can communicate between the Ethernet to Wi-Fi, Ethernet to the wireless. Okay. So OSI, the model, is involved in the that's the reason we can do Y, because of the access point, wireless access point. So access point has the two different interface card, one for the internet and the other for the Wi-Fi. So what's the Ethernet? Ethernet side the part. So what about the document from the 1 to no. So encrypt. So which layers? So data encrypt. So what's the task for the encryptions in layer? So the OSI layer, OSI has the 7 layers, right? What is 7 layer? The first one is application. Application. Next one. After the application. Presentation layer. That's the layer 6. Layer 5, session layer. Layer 4, transport layer. Layer 4.3, network layer. You have to know. Layer 2, data link layer. Layer 1 is physical layer. Application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link, physical layer. Okay? Application is, that's the business logic or what the users wanted to do. That's the application layer. Okay? And presentation layer is, so what's the main purpose of the presentation layer? So data format. So you can encrypt or decrypt or send some of the coded the data. That is presentation layer. Session layer is authentication. Is the user ID and password give the permission of user authentication. That is related to the session layer. You can make a connection. And transport layer and TCP/IP. TCP/IP, TCP and UDP. So you can control of your flow of your transport data. Network layer is IP and deliver your packet to the destination networks. And data link is MAC address. The MAC address is find your device in a single network, in a final networks, okay? And the physical layer convert your data into the signal bit conversion and send the data to through the media to the destination with the signal. So encryption is the layer. That's the data format, right? How we can present the data. That's the presentation layer, layer 6. So destination PCs in other networks. We can use the router, the 3D networks, that is transfer data from the one network to another network is layer 3. So that's the network layer. And what is Ethernet and Wi-Fi. What's that? Ethernet, Wi-Fi. That's the layer 2. So data link layers. Okay. And what is transfer? Yeah, transfer your document. What's that? Transfer your document. The file transfer. That's the application. Okay, that's the file transfer. Yeah, just define some of the keyword and think about which layers is related to, association to. Okay. So you can pick any keyword and think about so which layers is associated to this connection. So this the communications. We can in an exams you can choose any word. Okay. And think about the purpose of the OSI 7 layer. That's the 7 layer. What's the main purpose? Application, transport, session, transport, network layer, digital link, and physical layers. Okay. Next is next question. Discuss the measure required to provide the physical security of the network resource. The physical security. Yeah, think about the physical security. What's the physical security? Physical security. What's the physical security of your network device? Router and switches. Have you access to the router and switches? Or the servers? Have you? No, because only the network administrator or the authorized people can access that network device. Because if it's someone just disconnected the cable, it makes the gesture of the networks. So we always put this device in the separated room. So which call the server room or the communication rooms. We put all the network device or the security the servers, we put it into the room and with the logs. We have the logs. So only the authorized people can inside get into the rooms. Or so the power, think about the power. That usually the communication rooms or the server room has a separated powers. If it the power outage of the buildings, we still running this. You may be running the powers on the server room, because if they suddenly shut down the servers, it may cause as a problem in the servers or the network device. So we have to give it some time, or we can use the UPS. Have you heard of the UPS? That's the kind of the power bank of the servers. So if suddenly the power goes on the buildings, and still the UPS supports the power to the servers or the network device, I think that during 1 hour or 2 hours to keep the support the power to the device, network device. So network admin needs to go to server room and safely shut down your device. So to protect your data, you save all the data in the configuration, and doesn't change after you back up the power zone. What is? Or they usually have the server, the power separated, and the cooling system. Because the servers or the network devices make a lot of the heating, and make so we provide the enough cooling system in the server room. What else? So with a key, you can get into rooms, servers. Or what about we're just talking about the EMI. Okay, so a little bit shocked. What's the mean? EMI, the free, the areas. So that room or the area. So we put the network device. We think about the EMI, the free areas. So the room, we need to prepare the room with the key and separated power. Otherwise, we need to prepare for the UPS. That's the power bank for the servers or network device, and enough the cooling system in the room or near the servers, and EMI free. So EMI is the kind of noise into your data. So it's about to be separated from the EMI. That's I think that's enough. For your physical the security of the network source. Okay. So next, explain the following measures provided by the secure data. Security of your data. Authentication and authorization. So what is authentication? And what is the authorization? So that's quite similar, the pronunciation. Authorization and authorization. Authentication, authorization. Authentication means just think about the ID and password. So we need to identify who you are, who uses. And authorization means the permission, something related to permission. So after you log in, you can access some of the network folders or some of the service. So by the permission for the from the authorization. So that's related to the permission. The authentication is related to the identifying of the users. Okay, encrypt is the data. We can just hide your data from the outside. Okay, we just you change your data to the another format, so no one can see the data, no one can read the data. Okay, that's the encryption. So choose to read your data, you need to decrypt it first and then access to your data. So VPN is virtual private networks. We need to. So what's the main purpose of the VPN? So for the private network, we can use the private network from the public networks. To access your private network from the public network, we need to make the VPN tunnels. So outside of your company. So create your channels and get into the private network using the VPN. So all traffic must be encrypted inside in this protocol. So you can access from the wherever, so in the world, using the secure protocol, using the VPN. You can save and you can easy to the configuration for the VPN. The wireless security. So wireless it does not use any cables. So what's the wireless security? So we have to use the secure protocol, WPA2, WPA, or so what is? So web wired protocol, WP. I can't. Something like that. So we have to use the WPA. So we have to, just stop. I can't remember this one. What's the secure protocol for the wireless? The wireless is we are using the air, so everyone share the airs. So we have to use the secure protocol to for the communications. Maybe week 11. Let's have a look. What is wireless? The security, wireless security, authentication data. Where is firewall? Yeah, wireless networks. So, so attackers do not need to access any physical cables. So we have to use the secure protocol WEP. Okay, the security protocol for the wireless is WPA2, WPA, and WEP. And also need to control your access of the wireless using the MAC address and the SSID. Okay, that's the wireless security. Not P, so WEP. Okay. And security device is what's the security device? Firewall. And also IDS, IPS. So WA is the protection, the security, the device. As WA is intrusion detection system, intrusion protection system. So this detection means after the hackers get into your network, it can detect, find the problem, the virus. And the protection is protect your network before the hackers get into this software, unknown software, get into your networks. So malware protection. So we need to install some of the antivirus and the anti-malware softwares into your PC or the network device and blocking to spread out your malware. So in lecture slide 11, you can see the detailed information for those things, those 5. So I can just have a little more details. So on the slide, so in this one, I think, no, not this one, week 11. Where is week 11? Can't find the 11. Oh, yeah, this is week 11. Yeah. So you can see, so all the detailed information for the your. So what is authentication, encryption, virtual VPN, wireless network, malware protections. The detailed information you can see from the slide. After one, and so back to. So this covers the working device security device like the water file. Yes, so we do. So router and firewall do. So you can do some of the research about them. And so how different types of the malware attacks can do that. Also, this is good to know about, they may ask you, so what is the authentication? What is the different types of networks? What is the different types of the cables